Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. In this video, we'll look into how we can perform etcd backup and restore in our Kubernetes cluster. I have a Kubernetes cluster, a self-managed Kubernetes cluster. I created it using the VM instances. This is in GCP. You can also use a local cluster like Kind or Minikube, or you can also use Killer Coda if you are preparing for exams like CK or CKAD. I think by now you should know what HCD is. HCD is nothing but it is a highly available key value store which holds the entire data or entire state of the cluster. If you remember in the Kubernetes architecture video, I talked about this thing that whenever we type commands like kubectl create, then let me go to the documentation. So you can see it here whenever this is a cloud provider API, but whenever, for example, I'll say kubectl get pods, it will go to the kubectl, it will go to the kube API server, and then kube API server will go to the HCD and ask for the data, and then kube API server will send us the result back. So that's the job of HCD. It stores the entire state of the cluster. Now I'll SSH into my control plane and we will perform the tutorial. So I am inside my control plane node right now. And if I do kubectl get pods, before that I have to set alias. So if I say kubectl get pods, then I have a test pod in running state. Before starting that thing, I think we should discuss why we need to perform these HCD backup and restore. So I think the most obvious reason would be that if we have to upgrade the HCD or if we have to upgrade the Kubernetes cluster, then so that there is no potential data loss. So before upgrading, we would perform a backup and then we can restore that backup. Other than that, we can also use it for things like if some important like resources got accidentally deleted or something like that. And I think those are the main reasons. Then there is also like if in case the hardware fails or there is data corruption or something like that, then we can ensure that the cluster state is not gone. So those are the reasons. Let me zoom in a little bit and let's start it. So for backup and restore, we will go to the Kubernetes documentation first. I am at the documentation page right now and I'll search for HCD backup. I think the first link should be the correct one. So it talks about starting HCD clusters, multi-node HCD cluster. So here it is, backing up an HCD cluster. So for backing up the HCD cluster, we are going to use this tool called uh, HCDCTL, the HCD controller. I am back at my cluster at the control plane node. What I'll do is I'll install the tool called apt install. The tool name is HCDCTL and we'll do HCDCTL client. HCDCTL. So I want to do sudo apt install etcdctl client. It says unable to locate the package etcdl client. Okay, so the reason was because we were doing etcdl client and it was etcd client. So this is how we install the etcd etcd ctl. So now we have it installed. I actually had it installed already, but I wanted to show how you can install it. So the command is sudo apt install etcd -client. So now that we have installed it, let's go back to the documentation. So here in the documentation, every time we run the command, we will use this environment variable, which is etcdctl API is equals to 3. So this basically is like version. So the version is 3 right now. So we are assigning it version number 3 because like for version 4, the commands and the flags are a little bit different. So we don't need this command actually. We'll find the command we need to run. I think this is the one. Yes. Before running this, let us save it. So before running that command, what we will do is, I think you should know by now that we have our control plane components, manifest of those components in the etcd in this folder. Let me first go back. So we would have it in etcd, sorry, in etc slash kubernetes slash manifests. So if I do ls, then I can find the control plane component manifest files here. Now if I do cat into the etcd.yaml, so this is the YAML manifest for the etcd. Now, if you look at the command side, this basically means whenever the etcd container is started, then it would run this command called etcd and then pass all these arguments. So all these arguments are very important and we are going to use them for backup and restore. If you look at these files, then you can see that our ca.cert file will be assigned here, and we can see that the data directory, basically where the etcd like the data is present, will be this. I'm pretty sure it will be different for you. So this would be different for you because I have already restored it. Actually, let me do one thing. I've already done a backup and restore here, so it doesn't make sense to do it again. So if I do it in some other cluster, then I'll be able to show how exact steps are, right? So let's close this one and we would rather open a killer coda. Examples. No, I think it is this one. Yes, so we'll do the same thing here. We started off with sudo apt install and it was, I don't remember it. So rather than doing this, if you don't remember the command, you can simply say etcd.ctl. Okay, it's already installed. Okay, so if it is already installed, we don't have to worry. Now, before running this command, what we will do is we will ls we'll go into the etc kubernetes manifests and we will do cat into the etcd.yaml. Like I said, whenever the etcd container is started, then it will run this command with all these arguments. Important arguments to note here are the data directory. So in the var/lib/etcd, we have the data for etcd. Basically, basically it would have all the state of the contain, like it will have the state of the cluster. So it was wall lib etcd. Let's go back. And if we do cd into, then we can find this member, and inside this we will find the uh, all the current state basically. So this is it. Let's go back. Yes, that's what I wanted to show you. Other than that, in the HCD file, we have this argument where we can pass the CA certificate. And if there's anything more important, let me check. And then this is the key that we have to pass. This is the URL where the HCD will be listening to the Kube API server. And let me check if there's anything else. And I think we are good to go. One more important file that you should know, or the like line in the HCD YAML manifest you should know, is the volume mounts, because we are going to we are going to mount the volume called HCD data into this place. So when we restore, we'll have to change this file. This is the same thing like we saw earlier. This is where the restore will be kept basically. Like here we have the wall lib HCD. The same thing is mounted as the volume. So now what we can do is we can run this command. Before that, let me cat the same thing again, etc slash manifest, no, Kubernetes manifest, so that I can find the keywords from there, and we can simply copy this. So I was recording and the recording automatically stopped right now. I just hope that the previous recording is saved. So let us continue again. Where were we? We were at running this command, right? So we will simply copy this. Actually, not copy this, but copy only this much. So what we are going to do here is we are now going to create this snapshot and save it. So for that, we need all these arguments. So let us apply that. Like I said, we need this as for the version, and then we are running at ctl, and then we are giving the endpoints. So the endpoint is this endpoint where the HCD server is listening, and we will copy it here. Then the next argument is CA cert. So you don't even have to remember like which one would be CA cert. For example, like you don't have to try to figure out which one would be a CA cert. It is very evident actually that the CA file is the CA cert, right? But still, if you forget something, then you can see this trusted CA file. So we'll simply go to the trusted CA file part, copy it, and give it as an argument. It's called CA cert, not CAR cert, CA cert. Okay, there was no hyphen in between. Then the next argument is the cert. So let's figure out the cert file. I think we need the cert file. Okay, cert file would be this one, server.cert, yes. Copy this and paste it again. Then there is the key. Key would be key file. What else? I think that is it. So we'll now say snapshot and we will save the snapshot. And now I think we can give the directory of the backup. So where are we going to store the backup? So I think it is usually saved in the opt slash, let us call it, let us call it at cd backup. And I think this should be the command. But before that, we can do one more thing that will help us. Like if we do keep get pods, there is no pod. So let us do one thing. Let us run a pod. So we have one pod. It is running. So we have one pod running right now, so that when we do the backup, this is pod is running, and this is how we can check if the backup and restore was successful or not. So let us go back to that command. Where was it? Okay, we have saved it, right? And I think the file should be called .db at the end. So we are going to save it at opt/etcd backup.db. And I think it should work fine. Let us do it. And the snapshot was saved at this particular directory. So now what we can do is, now that we have the backup, okay, sorry. What we can do is we can simply delete the pod. So this we are trying to like simulate the condition where this Nginx pod was very important for us, and we created a backup, and then now we have accidentally deleted the Nginx pod. So we want to bring it up again. For that, we will run the restore function, or the etcd restore. So how we are going to do that? For that, let's go to the documentation, restoring an etcd cluster. And for restoring the cluster, we have this etcd-utl command, and you can run this command for restore, but I think we will still use etcd-ctl. So this is the command for etcd-ctl. Let's first take this, paste, and then we'll copy this part. So what we are going to do here is we are going to restore. So the data directory where we want to keep our restore would be where lib, I think this was the file, and then let's call it at cd restore, and then we are going to call the snapshot restore, and we will write, or we will specify the backup basically. So the backup path was this. One more mistake we have made is it should be etcd. I think it should work fine, and I think it did create a restore. So we can go to the where/lib, and here we can search for what was it called? Something restore, right? So we do have this etcd restore present here. So now that we have created this restore, now what we can do is we can simply go to our etcd uh, YAML manifest and change the arguments so that we can point those arguments to the newer one, restore, and to the newer restore basically. So let's go to etc slash manifests. No, first is Kubernetes slash manifests, and we will get inside the etc.yaml, etcd.yaml. So this is the YAML file. What we are going to change here is the data directory, because in the data directory now we do not store the newer version in the var lib etcd, but we store it in the restore etcd restore. I think this was the file, but I need to be sure. So let me just look back, and it was var lib etcd restore. Let's go again. Let's come back here. In case it is wrong, just paste this here. And what else do we need to change? So data directory, and this is fine, key is fine, name is fine, snapshot, trusted CA file, all this will not be changed. We do need to change the volumes, so I'm trying to find that. So yes, we are now, the mount path should be etcd restore, because that is where the new, the old restore or the actual restore that we want to get back was present. So this is it. I think it is correct. Now we can simply save it. And what we can do is we want to restart all the control plane components. Let us restart every component rather than just restarting the etcd. For that, we can simply move all these components to a temp file. So now if I do ls, there's nothing present here. And if we go to the cd temp file, ls, we have our files present here, etcd and all these files. So we'll bring those back to their actual place, which is etc slash kubernetes slash manifests, and the control plane components will be restarted automatically. For that, we'll do move, and it is at etcd, and then there was kube API server. There should be a kube scheduler sc, and then there should be a kube uh, controller manager. Yes, so we'll move them to etc slash what was it, Kubernetes slash manifests, and we can go back, we can go to the etcd etc slash Kubernetes slash manifests, and we do have our files back here. So now the control plane components would have been restarted. Maybe the restart was quick, I'm not sure, because in my self-managed cluster that I created, it took a lot of time. kubectl get pods, and let's do all. Let's grab the etcd control plane. Yes, okay. Get pod, paste this, output in YAML. The pod is pending state. Okay. So these pods are running. All these pods are running. What's the issue? Uh, like I said, the previous command. Now this is also running fine. So we can do, okay. So it must be in the kube system namespace. And we do have our etcd file here. But now what we see here is even in the volumes, the path has not been updated. It is the same var lib etcd. And in the, if we check the data dir, it is changed. Etcd restore. Data dir has been updated, but the volume mount has not been updated. Okay, it has also been updated. That's great. So if everything has been upgraded, we should have the nginx pod running, but we do not have the nginx pod. No, in the volume section, we do not have the newer path here. I think I checked something else. Data dir is fine. It is the etcd restore. Volume mount here, it says the etcd restore, which is correct. But if I go down, there is volumes. What is this called then? CD data. Then the kubectl get pod should run. Maybe we should also do restart the kubelet. So we'll do systemctl restart the kubelet and systemctl. Let's do daemon reload as well. So I just realized the issue that I had. So if we do vim into the, what was it called? etcd. There is one thing that we did not change. So here it is pointing to the previous etcd file. So we'll change it. It's called etcd restore. And now we will have to do the thing again. We'll move the etcd. Okay, let's do, move it to the temp file. And now let's do it back. Let's move the temp and .yaml, and let's move it to the etc slash kubernetes slash manifests. Let's go back to etc slash kubernetes slash manifests. We have them back here, and kubectl get pods. I think it will take some time. So now it is, all these control plane components are being restarted. It may take some time. Yes, it is taking some time. And now you can see that we have our nginx pod running, which we deleted, right? So the backup and restore was successful. Just in like, just for safety, like just for like, what is it called? Just for verification, we can also do get pods, and we can try to access the, I'm trying to access the etcd pod, not YAML. Yes, it is running. So we'll do kubectl get pod, and I want to see the data inside it. Cube system namespace. Now let's go back up, and in the data directory, what? It is the same. In the volumes, these are again the same. Maybe we have to do system ctl restart the kubelet, and I think I also did daemon reload. Now if we go back again, we can see our volume to be in the correct, like the mount path is correct now. Wait, here, it is correct. And finally the data dir is also correct. So now HCD is also pointing to the correct restored version, and we can say kubectl get pods. So our nginx pod is also up and running. So this is how we perform the HCD backup and restore. What we did was we firstly had this nginx pod running, and we created a backup for this. So the backup state of the cluster would have the nginx pod, and then we deleted the nginx pod. But when we created, but when we restored the current state, like the previous backup state of the cluster, then we again got our nginx pod up and running. So this is basically how we perform the HCD backup and restore. I hope this video helped you. If you want to watch other content on Kubernetes, so I have a lot of videos on Kubernetes on my channel. Maybe you can watch them. In either case, thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.